Hey everyone, Miss Mayorga again here with part 2 of lesson 18. I got cut off in the last video because I was not paying attention to the time. So if I just stopped abruptly, it's because I got cut off. So let's go ahead and continue where we were at. Lesson 18, bubble 8. We had just talked about how the conditional that we need to add is checking for the y coordinate being less than 20 up here, right? So we said if the ball gets past this point, y less than 20, then it needs to come back down. So that's the code we need to add. Go ahead and grab that if block, add it to your draw loop right underneath the other one. We need our less than symbol. And we're checking for the sprite's y position. So sprite.y. Change it to ball. If it is less than 20, right? If it goes past this top point up here, right about this line, if it goes past that point, then anything over here, then we want it to be going downwards. So to move the ball down, which block do we need to use? Velocity y. And should it be a positive value or a negative value? Careful here, if we're moving down on game lab grid, are we increasing or decreasing? We're increasing our y value, so we need to use a positive value, positive change. So don't forget to change the name, ball, and +5. All right, go ahead and reset the program, run it, and now the ball should just bounce back and forth, up and down. Going up, going down. All right, go ahead and click finish. Continuing on to bubble 9. We're almost done here. Bubble 9, there are 2 activities. For my class, I'm having you do both activities. So we're going to start with activity A. Controlling speed. This one's pretty simple. Controlling speed. For this animation, you'll help the Flybot take off. You should start moving up. It should start moving up when the spacebar is pressed, and it should continue moving up even after the spacebar is released. Use an if statement inside the draw loop to check when the spacebar is pressed. Use the velocity y block to make the sprite move up when the user presses the spacebar. Check that your animation behaves the way you'd expect. All right, let's go ahead and do what it says. If block, drop it into your draw loop. I'm going to put it underneath the background block. And we need to check if the spacebar has been pressed. And we're going to use the key went down because we want it to keep moving even after we let go of the spacebar. Key went down. Space. Key down is if we're holding the spacebar, right? But we don't want to hold the spacebar, we just want to click the spacebar. So key went down. If the spacebar is pressed, then make the sprite move up. In the instructions, it tells you which block you need to use, which is velocity y. All right, velocity y, drop it in there. Don't forget to change the name. The variable name is called Flybot with a capital B. So Flybot, capital B. And since we want to move upwards, should we use positive or negative value? A negative value, because as we move up, our y coordinate is decreasing. So we need to subtract. We need a negative change. So go ahead and negative. I'm going to go with -2. You can do -0.5, -1, -3, -10, up to you. All right, I'm resetting my program and running it again. Nothing's happening, and I need to press the space bar in order to activate it. So I'm going to go ahead and press the space bar. Just clicked on it, and it's going up by itself. And there it goes. Goodbye, Flybot. It's going up to Mars. It's meeting up with Perseverance to explore Mars together. I'm just kidding. I don't know where it's going. It's going into the sky. And there it goes. All right. Moving on to, I realize that I say all right a lot, and I catch myself all the time saying all right. Like literally at the end of every bubble, I'm like, all right, let's move on to the next one. But I can't stop myself from saying it. Anywho, moving on. I'm going to try not to say it. Moving on to the next one. Activity B. Paintbrush, paintbrush. Dip the paintbrush in the paint. Do this. Use a conditional to send the paintbrush down if the down arrow is pressed. Use a different conditional to send the paintbrush up if it reaches the palette. Hint, you will need to check its Y property. Okay, let's do the first step. Use a conditional to send the paintbrush down if the down arrow is pressed. Our conditional, if, go ahead and drop that into your draw loop in between background and draw sprites. If the down arrow is pressed, okay, if the down arrow is pressed, key went down, because we don't want to hold the down arrow, we just want to press it once. Key went down, and change that to down. If the down arrow is pressed, if we just click on the down arrow, then we want the sprite to move downwards. Which block is that again? Velocity Y. And do we need positive or negative value? Positive value. Don't forget to change the name. Brush.velocity_y gets, let's go ahead and start with 2. Run your program. Go ahead and press the down arrow. Let me go ahead and show you my keyboard. Pressing the down arrow, I'm just clicking on it, and the paintbrush is moving down. That's the first part. It's going to keep going down though. All right, the second part is that when the paintbrush gets to the point where it dips into the paint, right about here, we want it to go back up, right? So remember that the position, we're going to have to look at the Y coordinate, come up with a conditional about the Y coordinate. Remember that the position of a sprite is based off the center of the sprite, not the bottom. So really we need to focus on where the center of the sprite is when the tip is touching the paint. So I'm just going to run the program again. I'm going to follow my paintbrush and stop until the paintbrush touches the paint. So let's do this, down arrow. I'm just following the center of the paintbrush. Keep going right about here. Okay, so when the center of the paintbrush hits right about here, which if you look at the coordinates down here, that's about 310. When the Y position is past 310, greater than 310, then we want the paintbrush to move up. So that's the condition that we need to set. If sprite.y greater than, what did we say? 310, make the sprite go up. So go ahead and grab that if block, add it underneath, greater than, and we're checking for the Y position, sprite.y. Don't forget to change the name. This is for our brush. If the Y position is greater than 310, if it goes past this point here, 310, if it goes anything below, then we need it to go up. So how do we make the paintbrush move upwards? We need velocity.y, and should it be positive or negative? Negative, right? If we want to go up, we have to use a negative value. Don't forget to change the name, brush. I also say don't forget to change the name a lot, but I mean, you shouldn't forget to change the name because then you'll have an error. Go ahead and run your program. When you click the down arrow, your paintbrush should start moving downwards, and then as soon as the paintbrush looks like it's dipping into the paint, it should start to move up by itself. So I'm not touching anything, it's going by itself. Oh, and it's going up. And there it goes. Now it's going to keep going up because we haven't told the computer to stop it, but there it is. Let's go ahead and finish this one and move on to the last bubble. I'm holding myself from saying, all right, let's move on to the next. Even though I just kind of said it. Okay. Bubble 10, swimming right and left. So this one, I'm actually going to be grading. So I'll go through the instructions, but I'm not going to show you how to do it completely because this is your chance to show me what you understand for those of you in my class. Swimming right and left. The code below should make the fish start moving right once you press the right arrow key. And then it should continually swim back and forth. You should use conditional statements and the velocity block to make the fish swim. Let me make sure this is reset. Okay. Luckily for you, they already have the conditional statements in here. So really you just need to use the velocity blocks. So look at this, or do this. Look at the 3 if statements inside the draw loop. So we have if key went down right, if the right arrow key is pressed, if the X position of the fish is greater than 400, if the X position of the fish is less than 0. Use a sprite.velocity X block inside each if statement to make the 3 following movements. If the user presses the right arrow key, move the fish to the right. So that's going to be this one. We want to make the fish move to the right. How do you make the fish move to the right? Which velocity block should you use, X or Y? And should you do a positive or negative value? Okay. If the fish gets to the right-hand side of the screen, that's this one, when the fish's X position is greater than 400, that's on the right-hand side of the screen, then move the fish to the left. So here we need to add a velocity block that's going to make the fish move to the left. Which one of these makes the fish move to the left, X or Y? And should that value be positive or negative if you're going to the left? Okay. If the fish gets to the left-hand side of the screen, move the fish to the right. So that's going to be this last conditional. If the X position is less than 0, that's all the way over here, then make the fish move to the right. We already talked about this. Which block makes the fish move to the right? Velocity X or velocity Y? And should the value be positive or negative in order for it to move to the right? Right? So you only need to add 3 blocks, right? 1 in each of these. And it's up to you to decide which is it, velocity X, velocity Y. Should it be positive? Should it be negative? Right? If you need help, you can go back to, I forgot which bubble it was, but there was the bubble where we did the prediction. I don't know if it was 6 or 7, but you can go back to it and check out how they did their code, right? If you're in my class, you can also take a look at the notes in the notebook. Moving to the right, moving to the left, moving up, moving down, rotating. Oh, you can't see the last one because my face is in the way. Rotating. There you go. Okay, and that is it for lesson 18. There is a challenge. I do recommend trying out activity A. That one looks kind of fun, changing the course, being able to keep the little alien bug creature just moving up, down, left, right without leaving the screen. So if you want to try it out, go for it. If you have questions about it, let me know. If you have questions about any part in lesson 18, like always, like I say at the end of every video, send me a message on Schoology or let me know in class. Right? Hope this helps. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.